Ready to learn C++? Let's get started. In this video, I'm assuming you already have a C++ compiler set up in your computer. Alright, so first of all you need to have to start writing code is a text editor. Just open your Notepad or whatever is equivalent. For me, I'll be using the VI text editor. So let me open my file. We'll be starting with hello world, simply outputting a message to the screen. Now, when you create your C++ files, they're just plain text files, but make sure they have the .cpp extension. In my case, my file is named hello_world.cpp. Alright? Now let's jump right into the program. Now let's first ignore these first few lines and jump to the main thing. So every C++ program has a main function. This is where everything starts. So the program will start right here in the main function. And here we have a cout statement. Cout statement basically outputs a message to the screen. In my case, I have the message hello world. And I'm outputting hello world to the screen, followed by a line break. This NL basically says end the line. So let's see how it behaves when we compile the program. So first compile this program. In my case, I'm using G++ as my compiler. G++ hello world.cpp. If I just type like this, executable file named a.out will be available to me. If I list my things right here, a.out. Alright, so let's execute the program and see what we get. There it is, hello world. So we got hello world followed by a new line. Now you might be wondering what that end line, that NL thing might do to the program. So let's experiment. Let me open my file again and remove that thing and see what happens. Remember, we have to compile our program every time we make changes. So I'll be compiling it again with my G++ compiler. G++ hello world.cpp. It generated my a.out file. And there it is. Do you see the difference? Right here, we got hello world. And if you see my shell prompt followed right after. So that NL, all it did was create a new line. So that's why it's always good to have an NL at the end of a cout statement. Now let's go back and add it again. Now let's talk a little more about this program. So the cout statement works like this. Typically, you say cout followed by the insertion operator, which are these two less than signs. And then you put whatever you want to display under double quotes, okay? And then you end the statement with a semicolon. Here, don't forget the semicolon. It's essential in C++. For every C++ statement, you have to end it with a semicolon. Many programming errors may arise if you forget to add a simple semicolon. So keep that in mind in your programming adventures. Alright? Many people might get crazy and don't know why their program's not compiling, all because of a semicolon that was forgotten. So always end a C++ statement with a semicolon. Okay? Now, optionally, I added the NL to give me a line break. And typically, if you wanna do that, you have to add another insertion operator in between what you want to display. So cout insertion, whatever you want to say, your double quotes, and to add a line break, another insertion followed by and L. The way I always remember it is I think of end line whenever I see an L. Okay? And then after the hello world statement, we have a return statement. Basically, a return statement will end the main function, which in turn will end the program. So why did we return 0? Well, 0 means no problems were found when executing these statements. This program completed with no errors. Basically, if you were programming and some part of your program you were trying to deal with errors that might arise in your program, and then you would add a different number. Say something you were trying like to open a file and to put something in the file, but something happened that the file could not be opened. So basically, you would return a different number, say number 20 or whatever. So that number would identify what kind of error happened. So it could be any number. So the reason why it's 0 is because it's successful. Other than 0 means some kind of error happened, and since you can have any number, then that makes it easy to identify which problem, what kind of problem happened. So let's leave it at that first. So always remember to end your main function with return 0 for now. So and the way, let's talk about more about the structure and syntax, everything. Basically, the most basic C++ program all C++ programs have to have the main function. So the way you lay it out is just like this: int main and parentheses, and you put some brackets here. Okay, so whatever is within brackets is the contents of the function. Now this int right here is the return of the function. If you see you're returning 0 here, 0 is an integer, so we return the function returns the data of type integer, which is called int in C++. Now for these statements right here, you don't have to worry too much about it. First, typically in the first few lines of a C++ program, you have the include statement. These basically will include the functions you want to use in your program. In my case, I'm displaying a message to the screen. To be able to do that, I need this thing called the IO stream. It's kind of like a package that you include so that you can get that kind of functionality. So the cout is part of IO stream. That's why I have to include it in my program. So basically, every include statement is basically like this: # include space, you put whatever it's called, your package is called, under those brackets. Okay, and then after all the includes, I have this thing right here. Typically, this thing is added more for convenience, using namespace std. Basically, if I didn't have that, I would have to type a little bit more for my cout statements and so on. For example, if I deleted this, and if I didn't have that using namespace standard, every time I had a cout statement, I would have to have std : cout, the same for nl. Oops. All right. Oops. So, do you want to write your program every time in writing std : cout std : endline all the time, Well, I don't want to do that, so that's why I have the I have the using namespace std. That's all you have to know for now about these things. So just put it there so that we don't have to type too much. So that's very convenient. And that's basically it for a basic C++ program. Let's just execute it one more time and see how it is. G++, hello world, a.out. There it is, hello world. You can try and change the message and play with it and get comfortable with these things. Just keep in mind, this is the basic structure of a C++ program. Try to get comfortable with that, all right? So what you could do is do some exercises, change this hello world to something else, and maybe playing with the NL, removing it, and hey, put it like that, whatever, G++, to compile it, a.out. Here it is. Hey, what's up? All right. Thank you for watching.